back and welcome to my January TBR, which is my to be read books for the month of January. I always get excited going into a new year because I feel way more optimistic about finishing a lot more during the front half of the year. So I have a few new releases on this list and I've also got a few rereads to start in the month of January, so let's get into them. Firstly, for new releases, I have the Atlas Complex on my list, which is the third book in the Atlas 6 or the Atlas series, and this one is an urban fantasy, but it's also dark academia, and it's an adult story about 6 people who are chosen as powerful Medians, so they're like magicians almost, and they have their own internal magics based on a lot of scientific understanding and biology, and they get handpicked by a guy named Atlas to join the secret society where they have access to the archives of the Library of Alexandria, which has not been destroyed, and it's about the political intrigue and the dark moral decisions of the characters going through this 2 years of learning in this library and with Atlas overseeing everything. There is a lot at play here, and this is also very character driven in some parts, and I liked the intrigue of it, and I can't wait to read the third book. I think the third book is slated for the 9th of January to be released. Then I have a book that I'm very excited about. I basically read one of these every single January, so it's almost nostalgic in a way, even though this is new, and this one is called Mislaid in Parts Half Known by Seanan Maguire, and this one is the latest installment novella in her fantasy novella series. Also, I think it's potentially urban fantasy because it's about kids who go through specific doorways, and those doorway worlds really are the place that these kids technically belong, and the doorway always asks, are you sure, or be sure? And so when they go into these worlds, sometimes they don't even realize they've passed through a doorway, and sometimes they go back and forth, or they just come back and they're gone forever. So there's a magical school associated for all these kids so they can meet like-minded people. And this one, I think, goes to a dinosaur world. I love dinosaurs, so I'm really keen for this one. I've enjoyed all of the others, but lately the past 2 in the series have really reinvigorated my passion for reading it. It almost lost me, but it's brought me back, so I'm looking forward to this one, and I think it also comes out on the 9th of January, so the 9th of January is a loaded day. And then I did shame myself in my reading goals video, so I will link that if you're interested, because I said that I wanted to read this series 2 years in a row, and I haven't done that. So instead of continuing the series, I'm just going to start all over again, because there is no way that I can remember 15 books content in order to go into the later books in the series, and that is Dresden, or The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. I want to reread Stormfront, which is the first book in this series, and it follows Dresden, who is a wizard detective tracking down supernatural murders and solving supernatural crimes. And I'm really excited to rediscover the humor and just the spontaneity and the interweaving of the plot. There is some stuff that's foreshadowed early on that only comes into the story again much later. And now that I've read that far into the story, I'm looking forward to rereading from the beginning so I can pick up all the things that I've missed. The audiobooks too are narrated by James Masters, so they are fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to re-dipping my toe into this world again and just starting over from scratch, because it's been too long. Realistically, it's been too long. I can't remember everything, so I need to rediscover it. So Dresden is on my to be read plan for the entirety of 2024. And then I was thinking, what do I want to read as my first book of 2024? And that, it feels like a lot of pressure. Do I want to read a new book and then risk not loving it? And then that kind of sets the tone for the entire year, no pressure or anything. Or do I want to reread a book that I know that I've loved so that I can start the year on a high and then smash out some books after it? I went with option B. So the first book in 2024 that I want to read is a reread, because there is a book coming out in this series in 2024, and that is Wolf Song by TJ Klune. That is an urban fantasy series involving werewolves and supernatural creatures, and it follows Ox, and in the beginning of the book, his father is leaving, and his father has been quite a nasty and abusive figure to both Ox and Ox's mother, and once his father is gone, Ox kind of feels that absence of his dad because he's such a young kid, but he also kind of needs to be pulled out of that rut. And at the same time that he's trying to get his feet under him and become a mechanic in his local town, this new family move in up the street called the Bennett family. And, if you couldn't guess, they're werewolves. And Ox forms this lovely bond with all of them, and you just follow his character development across the series, obviously including this magical element. And I just love the found family aspect of this story. All of these characters have so much heart, and I think that is what I need to boost up my January. I need characters who love each other, who have the support and the passion, but also the humor, and just characters who call each other out on stuff too. So speaking of, I also want to reread Ravensong, which is the sequel in this series, in preparation for Heartsong, which comes out on, I think, the 1st of February. And if I can read the first 2 books in the series, it will refresh me and make me feel all the feelings just in time for Heartsong to come out in its new, lovely, beautiful, vibrant green cover. Technically, they all are already published, but they're getting new reinvigorated covers, so I'm buying them as they all come out. So Heartsong is coming, and I'm so excited for it. So I'll reread Wolfsong and Ravensong. I can't really tell you much about Ravensong because obviously it's the sequel, and while they are kind of companions in the sense that this one doesn't directly follow Ox, it follows characters, you know, in that space. So I don't want to spoil who this is about, but I'm really, really excited to revisit both of these books. I was going to do it in the end of 2023, but then I just never prioritized it. And then I realized it would suit better for early 2024. So that is what I'm gonna do. And then for the last book on this list, you're probably gonna call me a fake fan because I don't actually know if this news is legitimate or not. Basically, the Knights of Wind and Truth, which is a Stormlight book, Stormlight Book 5, is coming out in 2024? I thought it was like the back half of 2024, and I was like, I have plenty of time to reread The Way of Kings, The Words of Radiance, Oathbringer, and Rhythm of War. Like, I've got so much time. But do I? Do I? I haven't seen anything about this. I've just seen on Goodreads that I think the 1st of January is listed as its publication date, and part of me is like, I don't trust that. So maybe it is later in 2024. But either way, I'm hyped for it. But maybe I'm just hyped too early. So at some point I will reread all of the other Stormlight books. I've reread them before, I'll reread them again. I've only read Rhythm of War once, so it needs its classic reread before I end up starting Stormlight 5. But oh my goodness, I was like, when I saw this on Goodreads, I was like, am I having a conniption? Am I okay? How have I missed this news? Anyway, Stormlight 5, The Knights of Wind and Truth, coming our way, 2024. Those are all of the books that I would ideally like to start and finish and maybe even read more during the month of January. But let me know what you plan to read down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll come chat to you down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.